Hello and welcome to The Professionals. I'm thrilled to be joined today by Dominic Ayres, a Senior Client Development Manager in the Industrials teams at Eversheds Sutherland. The client development role in professional services firms is absolutely critical, particularly when both the firm and its clients operate across multiple jurisdictions. It's a varied role, touching on all aspects of marketing and business development, whilst always sitting at the heart of a client's relationship with its advisor. Dominic has kindly agreed to join us today to share some of his thoughts on how the role is changing and the lasting impact the COVID pandemic might have on client development programs. Dominic, welcome to The Professionals.
Thank you for having me, Matt. Really glad to be here and talk about a really important topic for law firms and an area that a lot of us will be really keen to kind of focus on over the coming year.
Dominic, the first question I'd like to put to you is just why is it important for a firm to have a client development program?
Sure, Matt. So it's a really important question. It's one that a lot of law firms will tackle internally, and a lot will already have client development programs, but a lot will start to be thinking about how they might look to develop theirs over the coming year. And part of what's kind of stirring this is a lot of law firms really want to look after their clients better. They want to win a greater share of their work from these clients, and also like to know that their competition are going to find it more difficult to win work from their clients. And I think a major impetus of a lot of this also is a focus on the relationships that a firm already has, rather than winning new clients. As various studies and kind of we'll find in our roles, the cost of acquiring new clients is a lot more time consuming and a lot more costly than focusing and mining your existing clients. And also what's becoming more apparent in professional services is that clients are coming to expect such programs. So a lot of our clients will have similar programs where they look and they protect their key clients and their customers. And I think what professional services firms are looking to do and kind of focus on this area will be really important, and clients will be looking for us to really develop those relationships through such an approach.
I guess a law firm is going to have many clients. How do you choose the right clients to focus on in a client development program?
Sure, and this is probably the most fundamental thing that underpins the success of a program, is identifying, those clients that will bring the most return, that by building a focused program and really invest on them will really help develop the success of this. And having too many will usually kind of inhibit the success of a program. General rule when it kind of comes to most firms is not to have too many, and kind of an average is from 15 to 25. Remember, these are those kind of really important strategic relationships that you really want to invest the firm's resources in. And also, if you've got dedicated client development managers or a BD team focused on this, you don't want to spread them too thin. So some of the ways that a firm can kind of approach this is kind of first agreeing as a strategy and a managing partner team is what are the kind of how are you going to score such a clients? And there's areas that you look at, such as the profitability and revenue derived from clients. So obviously key to building a sustainable client program is identifying those clients that contribute profitable growth. These clients might not be those that are the most highest volume or the highest transactional value clients. It's those that tend to have a strong fee income and are profitable over a coming period. And they're the type of clients where you have more of a partnership arrangement. And what I mean by that is it's not derived just by cost. It's focused on a long-term valued relationship. There might be other factors you look at, such as the strategic value of a firm and the client that it brings. So it might be a really big brand name in its kind of sector, and that obviously brings with it a credibility to what you do as a firm and how you win other clients in that kind of sector. And also, most interestingly, it's not always your biggest clients at that point in time. Sometimes you'll look at those that offer the most growth potential. You won't just focus on those that had the highest income the previous year. So some of these might be specific clients that actually, over the lifetime of that client, you'll actually generate, a substantial kind of fee income. And I think then when you've kind of built up the scoring of clients on this area, this will help you then identify those clients that should sit in the program, but also help identifying those that would be the pipeline into the program, because this is really important to make sure that you're challenging the clients that you're investing in and working on. And I think it's also worth just noting that certain firms will have a sector client-based strategy. And what I mean by that, and Eversheds a really good prime example, that where we will focus on those clients that sit within sectors. So for the industrial sector group at Eversheds Sutherland, which I look after, we have 5 key clients that fall within that sector, and we do a similar approach for each of our other sectors. And this really helps kind of build the sector strategy.
It's interesting that historically, it's a role that would have been carried out by the partners, I guess, the client relationship partner. So I guess a question is, where does the client development manager, you sit in this role and in this process?
Sure, no, it's a really good point. I think professional services firms have kind of really changed what that role is, and the big four and accountants have always had kind of similar key account management roles and people that will look after relationships. With law firms kind of looking at this, the client development manager role is very focused on the client strategy. They take a kind of personal ownership of, as I mentioned, a portfolio of priority accounts that they will work hand in hand with the client partners at the firm. And this will include a client-facing role, collaborating with the practice groups, international marketing, pitch teams, and other internal stakeholders of the firm, and bringing the best value to the client. And I think there's a number of advantages that the client development manager brings. They are looking holistically across relationships, and I think this is where they add a lot of value to client partners, and that's where they've started to build themselves into that kind of process and help them shape the strategy for these clients.
It's quite interesting, is that, I mean, marketing and business development roles are quite often, they're not client facing in many firms, but it strikes me that the client development manager, it has to be a client facing role. Is it becoming more so? And how does that work for sort of someone like yourself in that role?
Sure, it's definitely a culture shock. I think, if I think back to earlier stages of my career, the business development marketing team getting to the table and actually having that face-to-face contact with clients was almost unheard of. What's changed over the years is that the value that a client development manager brings to a client relationship, in that they're not on the clock, they are focused on just a small number of accounts, they have intimate knowledge of the firm and the value, they work with colleagues, they bring that kind of T-shaped kind of knowledge of the firm. I think they build a lot of trust with the client partners, and if they do all those things really right, they get a lot of responsibility and they get that chance to work with clients. And ultimately, clients, they want a good service, they want all the nice things that a firm will bring to the relationship, and the client development manager can play a really key role in help bringing all that together. And client partners are very busy, so the more trust that you build with them, the more responsibility and the more face time you'll get with clients.
It's quite interesting. I mean, the relationship you must have with your partners is quite different from, say, someone in a comms role within a law firm. What kind of things do you do to support your client partners, and what kind of relationship do you have with them?
Sure. I think, we almost treat them like clients. And I think part of that is we really understand how they like to work, what they're trying to do with their clients. And I think we have, in the client development manager role, a lot of the skills, and we have a lot of value that we bring to their roles. And it could just be simple things as we really take time to understand the client. So we take it on ourselves with our priority accounts to really become a subject matter expert in what the client's business strategy is, their needs within our firm, and how we bring that. And we make the client partners look really good for the client. So we really work with them around helping them understand what is happening with the client, also identifying what else is happening across the firm that will be relevant to that client. This is particularly easier to do when you have a sector focused strategy. So if you're working with similar clients, you can take that and say to similar clients, well, we're doing this work here, have we thought about doing this training, or why are we not doing their M&A work in these jurisdictions? We've just done a fantastic deal, say, in the electric vehicle space. So I think there's a lot of ways that you sit in a powerful position as a client development manager, that you add that value and you can support the partners around. It can even be simple things, as we say, some of these client teams can be very big and they can have a lot that you need to coordinate internally. And the client partner can end up getting a lot of overflow from people asking about the client. So becoming the central point and the kind of one of those kind of that next step in the firm can also help them kind of liaise with different operation departments in the firm, such as finance, pricing, legal, technology. So you're able to be there to really support them on things that they should be doing, and also it holds them a little bit accountable as to how we progress the relationship in terms of objectives and the strategy for that client.
I mean, it's quite interesting, isn't it? I think the internal role that you play as well within a firm is quite interesting. As you've mentioned, with very large clients, there will be other teams that want to get in and have a piece of the action, so to speak. I mean, the role that you play internally, is it looking for opportunities within the firm that you might be able to grow the business with a client, or is it as much shielding a client from all of the other teams within your firm?
It's a bit of both, really. I mean, if we look at we come back to that, as I said, that kind of internal kind of representative of everything that client. So we have a responsibility to be sharing with the market and the comms team and the practice group teams as to what clients are requiring, what types of work they're doing, and they're able to then take that and develop products and solutions for similar clients. At the same time, the practice groups will be sharing a lot of relevant content that they'll be asking us to share with clients, and given our understanding of the client, we'll almost police a lot of what we're sending to clients and be able to say, well, this is appropriate because this client are trying to do similar projects. Digitalization is a big area of this client's business. Yes, anything on that would be really relevant. But also, as you talked about, we're trying to identify broader opportunities as well. And some of these clients will have big client service teams, so groups of partners. Some clients, Eversheds, we have at least 30 to 40 partners working on these big global accounts. So making sure that they all really understand what's happening in the clients, because they can't be at every meeting, they can't understand what we're discussing at the top table with the relationship contacts. So there's a real onus on us to really be the ambassador of everything that's relevant and happening with that client, and making sure we're transferring, communicating that back internally.
I mean, it does sound absolutely fascinating. I just wonder, the world has been quite a different place over the last 12, 14 months. I mean, how has that sort of impacted the work that you do and the role of the client development manager?
Sure. I think if anything, it's really emphasized the importance of having a client program or client strategy. I think, since the outbreak of, COVID-19, the importance for law firms in creating such a program and selecting just, a number of clients that of strategic importance, that if you were to lose them, or if, they were having challenges and you wasn't, giving them the support that they needed, is more essential than ever. I think, having such a program and such an approach really helps you to align with your client, really secure your revenue, preserve the relationships, and also get closer to decision makers. One thing we definitely found was when COVID happened, and the industrial sector was one, automotive, aerospace clients were heavily impacted. We were having daily calls, we were having virtual check-ins with clients, and part of that was really understanding our clients, understanding what they were probably facing in-house, but also having that kind of van marking of who the key contacts are and the decision makers, to make sure everyone was speaking to their contacts. And this was really important because lots of law firms were sending webinars, they were sending posts about force majeure to their clients, but actually if you've got a really clear strategy and you're talking to your clients, and also bespoke, we did a number of workshops for clients just on specific issues. We did calls where we said, what's your top 20 issues this week? We'll go through them on a call. And that was really part of, if you've got these really strategic relationships, you can invest the time. This costs time and money. And if you've got a select number, you can really help those clients through those hard times. So I think, if anything, it really emphasised the need for such a program. And a pandemic is just kind of, really kind of grounded that home. If we look at the ultimate goal of such an approach at law firms, it's building those sustainable client relationships. One thing that's been really, really evident from, as we start to look at the year ahead, is we've seen a number of clients look at their panel firms, look at who they work with, and really kind of review where they get value. We've undertaken a number of procurement exercises over the Christmas break. We've seen panels go from 200 firms globally to 3 or 5 and building really streamlined panels. And part of this is firms, clients really want to invest in those firms that want to partner with them. They want to concentrate on kind of developing a relationship that they will benefit from cost savings, but also the kind of value add that comes from that investment, rather than having loads of firms to manage. So I think the importance of law firms being alive to this and really identifying those clients that have the most potential and investing a program or the client development manager's time on those will really help come to fruition over the coming years, when these law firms clients will be looking to review who they work with and how often they work with them.
Joe, I think that's a powerful takeaway, Dominic. Thank you ever so much, and thank you for joining the professionals.
No, really glad to be here, and thanks for your time, Matt, and glad to talk about this topic.